All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So let's do this thing. I'm back, and how excited am I? And how excited are you, probably, you know? Because generally there's a lot to talk about the day after a big event like that, even though I talked about it right after the event, but I've had time to kind of, you know, marinate on some of these things that I said last night. And I agree with the things I said in some cases, disagree in others, and there's also a lot of other things to talk about because, you know, what's coming next? Things I didn't talk about last night, but also, let me just say this. First of all, actually, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. We are building an incredible MMA community here, okay? There are no Busterville people. What? There's no suckers that are my subscribers. Everybody who subscribes to me is cool. And you'll see because like, I'll get, I'll get comments like this from the guys who are busters, right? Like I got this comment today and you know, it's a, oh man, it's so good, dude. I'm done with you, Jesse. If you want to watch people trade punches standing, go watch boxing and leave MMA for the rest of us who love technique and a smart game plan. Oh yeah, the rest of us? The rest of us. The rest of us love guys pushing dudes against the fence and stomping on their toes and not allowing any leather to be traded. That's something that most of us like. I think you've got us confused with the Grapplers Anonymous channel. What? That's really a terrible joke. But yeah, I think most people would disagree that with you, that a boring fight is still awesome because the guy had a good game plan. Okay, I will say this. I have thought about this immensely. And, you know, if Kamaru Usman's goal is to retain the title, he had a good game plan. He had an advantage in one area. I would have done the same thing if I'm him, okay? But I'm a huge Jorge Masvidal fan. I really wanted him to win. And so when you really want a guy to win, that is a really frustrating way to watch them lose, okay? Simple as that. But yeah, so guy like this, you know, I'm done with you, Jesse. And then follows it up with that. I'm like, no. No! How is my channel going to survive without this dude? Whose name I won't say because I don't want to blow him up that hard. But like, my goodness, how am I ever going to get to 150,000 subscribers if this guy leaves? He probably has such a huge cult following, they're going to go with him. So, invert that, and that's the culture here, which is all, everybody wants to be nice, you know? We want to talk about MMA. We don't start things off with, I'm done with you, unless you're a weirdo who's on your way out. So anyway, join the group and subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, like the video, etc., all that stuff. So what I really like to do on this channel in general is I really like to gloat in specific situations. So like as an example, if I say, I think that a guy is going to land a lot of leg kicks in the first round, and then they land a lot of leg kicks, you know, I'm like, yeah, see, I thought he was going to do that. I don't really care that much. What I like doing is I like predicting what people are thinking. Like I like thinking about it in terms of, oh, by the way, I just remembered that you guys asked me to look in the camera. So look at that, mid video. I'll look right in the camera for you guys. Anyway, so I like to predict what guys are thinking, right? So they're in the strategy room and they're trying to make a match, or they're trying to figure out who's going to fight who, or they're trying to figure out a contract negotiation, any of those things, or a fighter going into a fight, all that. I like to get inside their head and then try to figure out what they're thinking and what they're planning. That is where I feel very good about myself when I get it right, which is often, okay? That's kind of where I consider my talent to be in terms of being able to look at this thing and then come up with some things that other people don't see is all right there. And I think this is what they're thinking. And, you know, in that vein, I am going to gloat a little bit because I'm going to show you a little clip about what I thought the UFC was doing with Paige Vanzant. And then now I'm going to show you post a clip of Dana White after the event. Go. We got Paige Vanzant versus, oh God, what's her name? It doesn't matter. You know what, honestly, it doesn't matter, okay? Because the point I'm going to make is this. So Paige said that this is her last fight on her contract. She's not signing a new contract. She's going to test free agency, okay? So when a fighter does that, right, they have one fight left on their contract. Now, UFC is mandated. They have to offer 3 fights a year or something like that. And so they have to offer her a fight. They have to offer her the ability to get out of her contract because, you know, she only has one fight left. Now, when a fighter is saying, like, she won't sign a new deal, she's going to test free agency, what is UFC going to try to do with that last fight? they're going to try to make sure she loses 100%. Okay. That's just business. That's just smart business. You don't want to give someone, like, if she's going to go test free agency, she wants to go to ONE or she wants to go to Bellator or whatever. Why would you give your competitors a more valuable version of a product that you built?
Paige Vanzant, she made it clear she wants to test free agency after this. She lost this evening. Amanda Hebus obviously looks like an up-and-coming talent. But is Paige somebody you'd be interested in talking to? I mean, she made it clear she wants to test the market. Would you like to have her back?
Yeah, I think that I like Paige. I like Paige. You know, it's like Blades when I talk. You know, when Blades fought last. When you talk all that stuff, I'm not being paid enough, and you know, fighting inconsistently. You know, one time in the last year, injuries, and then got smoked in the first round of the fight. She should definitely test free agency.
I feel pretty good about myself about that one. Anyway, all right, so let's get into actual video here. So I wanted to talk about Jorge Masvidal's stock, you know, whether it's up, whether it's down, what's next for him, etc. I want to talk about Peter Yan and the 135-pound division, and I want to talk about Burns versus Usman and what that looks like based on what I saw last night. So first off, we are going to talk about Burns and Usman. I don't know why I announced them in that order, because now I'm just juggling them. But here's what I believe. So what I heard last night from everybody was that the performance that they saw illustrates a person who is heads above anyone else in the welterweight division. Kamaru Usman, obviously. Like, wow. He was able to do that to George Masvidal. I mean, wow. He's just way above anyone else at welterweight. And first of all, Jorge did take it on short notice. Okay, that does matter, right? Now, I'm not saying that if Luke Thomas made an excellent point about this, okay? He said, given what you saw last night, if they were to fight again and Jorge Masvidal got a full training camp, would you bet on Jorge and feel confident about it? And the answer, of course, is no. So, yeah, I mean, Usman is a bad matchup for Masvidal, like the case is many times with these guys who are very strong wrestlers who end up against a guy whose specialty is in striking. Although Jorge Masvidal's defensive wrestling was very impressive last night. Very impressive. But, you know, I mean, again, I'm going to say it again. Usman has an obnoxiously effective defensive striking game, which sets up strong offensive wrestling, which ends up being defensive against having to trade and et cetera, et cetera. And so he's dominant that way. Here's the thing, though, okay? Here's what I saw when they were actually on their feet when Jorge was fresh. I saw a significant speed advantage with Jorge and a significant striking advantage with Jorge, okay? Now, the sample size was not super big. You're talking about like the beginning of the first and second round, but it was very evident to me that you know, Kamaru on his feet, he's long, he's pretty powerful, he's slow, okay? Slow on his feet. And what I'm looking at there, when I match him up with Gilbert Burns, is a dramatic mismatch in Burns' favor. Dramatic mismatch. I mean, I'm serious. I challenge you guys, go watch Gilbert Burns fight Tyron Woodley, and then just watch his stand-up skills, and then watch Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, and then just gauge the speed, accuracy, footwork, etc. I mean, because this is the thing. Against Burns, all that clinch work, all the takedowns, hold him down, no. The same way that he didn't wrestle Colby, except multiply that, because Colby was just, you know, the wrestling kind of nullifies, you know, they nullify each other. Where Burns, you go on the ground with him, he's a world champion in jiu-jitsu. He's an awful matchup for Usman. Awful matchup. Masvidal actually matches up best against Gilbert Burns. But, I mean, to me, I was watching that, I'm like, oh, Gilbert Burns, like I was already confident that Gilbert Burns was going to beat Usman. Like okay, let me just make this clear. So last night, I think if anybody really watches all the pre-fight videos that I did, and I said I was doing a parlay and I was putting money on Masvidal, you're not going to hear any parts of those where I said, I think Masvidal is going to win this fight, and here's why. You know, like I said, the odds are really good at the very, you know, it's close to 50-50, right? I never said I thought Masvidal was going to win, and I certainly never gave a detailed breakdown of why I thought he could win, right? Plain and simple. Burns, different ball game. Okay, Burns, X's and O's favor Burns tremendously because I'm honestly trying to figure out how does Usman win that fight? How does Usman win that fight? Explain it to me. Because again, clinch work. You know, the clinch. I mean, Burns is like, okay, yeah, we're in the clinch. Go ahead, take me down. Take me down. Go ahead. And in the stand-up, Burns is lightning fast, super powerful, very, very accurate. Okay, so. I don't understand. Like, I can't see it. I don't know how Usman wins that fight. So, yeah, I mean, I came out of that thinking, oh, Burns is going to win. But I will also say, anybody who really watches my stuff, I said right after the Damian Maia versus Burns fight, I was like, this is the guy. I was like, Burns is the guy. Watch. He's the dark horse that's going to end up being the champion, and he's going to run through everyone. He matches up. He's the worst matchup ever for everyone. I said that right after Damian Maia. Then he ran through Tyron Woodley. I said it again. I will say it again. As soon as he beats Kamaru Usman, I'm going to be like, who's going to beat this guy? You know? People just don't know. You never know who the real guy is till they get their shot. So, I mean, but here, I will say this for sure. If Usman beats Burns, because there's no one else. There's no one else. If he beats Burns, there's no one else for him to beat. I mean, he'll have a rematch with Colby or something or whatever. Maybe a rematch with Masvidal where it's a full camp. But, I mean, if he beats Burns, no one's going to beat him, right? So that is what I have on Usman and Burns. But also, again, I will rewind to things that I said about that previously, which is that you don't have any idea what their relationship is like, you know, in practice, or like who's been schooling who in the gym, because there's a lot going on there. I don't really even know what to make of Usman very quickly leaving that camp, you know, because so when they were fighting each other, I don't know if that's a personality thing or kind of the roots of the people in those camps, but Usman was out of there pretty quick. And that could mean that he knows. He's like, Jesus, this guy beats the shit out of me in practice. Like, in his heart and in his mind, he's like, I need something new. Like, I need something that he hasn't seen before, because when we spar, he beats the fuck out of me. And so I got to figure something. I need to go to Trevor Whitman. I need to develop a new skill. You know, I need to have new weapons that he hasn't seen, because I can't beat him normally. Anyway, that's that. Again, I will be very, you know, transparent that I just might not be objective right now, because I'm still bitter about how that fight played out last night. You know, it's like when you really want a guy to win, it is so infuriating watching him lose through being smothered and not allowed to fight. I hate it. Hate it. I can't like, yeah, sure. Okay. Sure. Commenter. Yeah. It's a good game plan. Yeah. Like, yeah. It's a good game plan. You're right. It is. It's a good game plan. Does that mean I have to be like stoked on the guy who implemented that game plan? I'm like, you're right, man. Great game plan. So now I'm a huge Kamaru Usman fan. Well, hang on. Jeez, I did this out of order. One thing I will say, Kamaru Usman handled the post-fight like a boss. He actually, I will say this, he elevated himself as a person exponentially with me after the fight, because he gave George Masvidal tremendous praise. He even talked about him fighting Colby. He was a very, very classy winner. I will give him that for sure. A very, very classy winner. End of story. He won with class, and that means a lot. But, you know, George is my dude. I have the Peter Yan 135. All right, so let's talk about Peter Yan, the 135-pound division, and that whole deal. So he's the champion now, Peter Yan. Let me tell you what's so weird about that is that you have Triple C, who's the champion, and it was like, I don't know why I had this impression that there was like TJ Dillashaw and then everyone else. You know, I really felt that way about the 135-pound division. It's like, oh, there's TJ and then there's everyone. Like he's that far above everyone else. I have no idea where that was coming from. I really don't. Like when I think back, I'm like, well, you know, because it was like he only, you know, lost a split decision to Dominic Cruz, and then he came in and he decisively beat Cody twice, and like everyone else just seemed like they were up and comers that like didn't. I think they just didn't have names yet. You know, like it wasn't that they weren't good. It was just that they hadn't built their names yet. And now is like it almost seems weird to call Peter Yan the champion, right? Because there are so many vicious guys in that division that haven't really gotten a real shot yet. It's like that whole thing is going to need to shake itself out. You know, like Peter Yan will probably fight Sterling initially. And I mean, before that fight Sterling had with Sandhagen, I would favor Yan immensely, but my goodness, Sterling, I mean, because Sandhagen is a beast, and Sterling made him look, I mean, Sterling looked like a human boa constrictor. And he's also good on his feet. But Marlon Moraes knocked him out in the first round. Like, the 135-pound division will just break your brain instantly the second that you start thinking about it. Where's a dominant fighter going to come from? And your brain will break instantly. But Peter Yan, he is very strong, and he has the belt now, so people are going to have to come try to get it from him. And I imagine he does not have a big enough name to headline a pay-per-view card yet. So obviously they're grooming Sean O'Malley. I mean, if anybody is unclear on that, that is a 100% fact, okay? Sean O'Malley is being groomed to be the next Conor McGregor. Period, point blank, period. That's a fact, okay? Now, he doesn't have mic skills like Conor, but his fighting style is so exciting, and he's so goofy. I mean, he'll be a superstar. So they're going to systematically feed him people that they think he's going to beat until it's undeniable that he's so good that he has to just fight the top guys, whoever they are. And trust me when I tell you that the UFC brass is going to be rooting for him every time. Every time. So you got that going on. He hasn't really fought a wrestler yet, but then now you have Cody Garbrandt, who I realize is coming off 3 in a row. But again, I've gone over this before. The first TJ Dillashaw, that he had the round not ended in the end of the first, he would have won that fight because TJ was done at the end of the first, but then he got a chance to recover. Cody got overconfident. He got caught. Second fight, that's just, TJ just decisively won that fight. And then Cody was all spazzed out from getting knocked out twice. That next fight, Munoz, like, that was just like, I mean, I've never discounted a loss for a person more than I discount that loss, because that literally was like, I remember watching it and just going, what is he doing? Like, what is he? It was just like you could see his mental game just exploded. Like, it was like his brain exploded. Like, it was like, I need a knockout. Like, I'm coming off too, I need a knockout. He's just swinging like a madman. That was just bizarre. And then, like I've talked about on this channel, going into that last one, I said, I'm like, I've never been so bullish about a person's return coming off of 3 losses like that. And I said, I was like, I watched his interview. I know his game plan is going to be better. He's going to go defense first, and he's going to be vicious. There's a video of him on his Instagram that, if I remember, I will put in here, where you hear boxers say float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. It is actually rare for you to see a person whose footwork is so good that they actually look like they're floating. Cody Garbrandt looks like he's floating in this video. Literally floating. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up because I don't want to forget, because it is a beautiful thing to see. His boxing, there's no one who can box like pure boxing. I mean, it's just, I make sure that I find it so that I don't forget. Yep, here it is. Shit, I'll show it to you right now. Watch this motherfucker. Look, watch him just float. Look at how light on his feet he is. He looks like he's going to float away. Look at that. Right? Impressive. Very impressive. Anyway, so you got Cody, you got Sterling, you've got Marlon Moraes, you've got O'Malley, you got Yan, the champion. I mean, it's just beast mode all the way down. 135. I mean, again, whoever holds the belt, all it means for at least a little. Oh, and then TJ's coming back, and Triple C will probably come in at some point. So I think we're on the cusp of seeing one of the most ridiculous round robins of people holding the belt ever. Like, I think you might get like one defense out of a guy before they lose for a while. Okay, for a while, unless Triple C comes back, or unless O'Malley really is as good as he looks, But we still got to see him fight a wrestler, because we haven't seen that yet, and that's gonna say a lot. That is going to say a lot. Anyway, that is what I got. So if you like the channel, subscribe and ring the bell. What's up? Anyway, love you guys. Subscribe, ring the bell. Peace.